that came to our virtual Computer Career Expo. Today, you will hear from a multiple amount of employers and companies within the field who will introduce students to career paths within their discipline, educate students about the various positions in their desired career field, create networking opportunities for local employers and students, and at the end, we will open the panel to questions from students. So please listen carefully as your question may have already been answered. It may be helpful to write down your questions so that you don't forget them. Now, please submit your questions in the chat box, and either I or Michael will read them aloud when the time comes. Now, I would like for the employers to each introduce themselves and start the event.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katie Shula. I'm a recruiter at Manpower in Poughkeepsie. I'm here with Art Grace of IBM.
I'm not at Manpower.
And he also, he works at Manpower as well.
How about you next, Adam?
Hello, everyone. My name is Adam Podpora. I work at Central Hudson Gas and Electric. I'm an electric engineer. I work in electric substation design. Prior to that, I worked in substation operations. I'm from the area. I went to Arlington High School, did 2 years at Dutchess Community College, studied engineering sciences, and then went on to RPI, and then started working at Central Hudson.
Perfect, thank you. How about you, Michael?
Hi, I'm Mike Gildine from IBM. So I've been at IBM 10 years now. It flies by. I got my bachelor's degree in computer science from Penn State, so I'm actually from Philadelphia. And I came up here to the Hudson Valley for an internship with IBM and stayed with ZOS Test since then. So I'm actually in the mainframe world and the software side of things. And I specifically get to break it and I don't have to fix it. So I'm a big fan of that. I also got my master's degree at Marist, and I'm an instructor there part-time to help out with different new courses.
Very nice, thank you. How about Angel?
Hello, my name is Angel Orsini. I'm a staff sergeant in the National Guard. My colleague here is Staff Sergeant Elia. Speaking for myself, I'm an IT guy myself. Got several certifications paid for by the military. Been with the military for about 20 years now. Several things that we offer as far as IT, top secret clearance, ethical hacking, and we offer all that training paid. So you're getting paid while you're getting the training and all the certifications. Again, my name is Staff Sergeant Orsini, and introduce yourself.
Jason Elliott with the New York Army National Guard, but yes, I'm a satellite operator before I was a recruiter. 5 years of experience. We're just on the call just to listen in and see how we can help students accommodate their aspirations.
Great, thank you. How about you next, Nadja?
Hi, everyone. Pleasure meeting all of you. This is so wonderful. So I am from HR Verizon. I'm sure you've seen us, you've heard of us. I recruit for local area, which is all Hudson Valley area, including New York City. I have some territories that I support there. I mainly recruit for our retail locations and business to business. I've been with Verizon for 15 years. I started out as a sales rep, and I did graduate from SUNY New Paltz, courtesy again of Verizon. They paid for all my education. I am CP certified and SCP certified, again, courtesy of Verizon. And I am here to speak with you and answer any of your questions you may have. Thank you.
Fantastic. So now we're going to move along to the prompts. Oh, Michael, you muted.
Sorry about that. I just, did Katie get a chance to go too? Just wanted to check.
I did.
Okay.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I don't know if I introduced myself, and just want to say to all the students, welcome and thanks for coming to the Computer Expo. My name's Michael Strachey. I'm an academic coach in the ACT Center at Dutchess, and you can go ahead, Ben.
So for our first prompted question, we're going to be talking about COVID-19 related things. So, employers, how has COVID affected your company? Can we start with you, Adam?
Sure. So while we're an essential business, Central Hudson, COVID still impacted our everyday operations. Safety is always our number one priority, and we've put additional safety measures in place to protect the well-being of our employees and our customers, to stay in accordance with local, state, federal, and CDC guidelines. Since the pandemic started earlier this year, the majority of our management staff has been predominantly working from home, and we've brought in new technology solutions, and we're kind of experimenting with different remote working technologies each day. So we're doing everything we can to stay productive under these new operating conditions while, maintaining the health and safety of our employees and our customers. That's the short answer. And as for my own personal job, my engineering design work, I can do about 80% of my work on the computer or at my desk. So whether I'm in the office or at home, that doesn't really matter. And then I have the freedom to go into the office when I need to during scheduled times to either, recover drawings or, pick up a piece of equipment. And then a lot of my projects are out in substations in the field. So with proper planning, I can contact field personnel and then go make site visits accordingly.
Nice. And Michael?
So being a large tech company with 350,000 employees across, 170 plus different countries, it was, I'd say, almost a little easier to be able to pick up on the remote service aspect, right? We were already, having these international calls and things like that, using different technologies to work remotely. So it's a little bit easier transition. And depending upon, the localities and things like that, the different rules and guidelines, different sites are open partially versus closed, like the Poughkeepsie plant right now is closed to non-essential personnel. Obviously, to plug in a machine or to do physical actions on a machine or even build them, right, you have to be in person. So those essential employees have taken extra precautions and policies in place for that. I'd say the most interesting thing was onboarding interns during COVID. Usually, bring them in, give them their laptop, take them around, show them, this is where we do this, this is, this person. And then you say, hey, let me take you to lunch. So it was a really different experience now, trying to bring them up virtually. But what we did was we arranged for time with different individuals, and you'd spend 2 or 3 hours like on WebEx with them, working back and forth, almost like you were sitting in the office with them. And I'd also say that we've spun up a lot of different initiatives to kind of help out in the COVID space, especially with the Watson AI piece of it. So there's been a lot of different initiatives kind of internally to parse through the information, make it available to academia and various researchers, and provide that data through our companies like the Weather Channel.
We appreciate that perspective. We were definitely looking also just for how it's changed for folks that are trying to get into the field too. Would anybody else like to comment on how it's been different so far in their field?
Sure, I'll go. I'll review some information that we definitely at Verizon, took on head on with pandemic. So I am gonna separate it like into 3 pillars. So one is, this is a big one, the new way of working, right? So we have new policies to care for the safety and well-being of our employees primarily and our customers, right? An example with that would be virtual work from home. Over 95% of our workforce has been redeployed to work from home. So that was an awesome thing that Verizon did. And also senior leadership had given each day an update exactly of what was happening with all the changes, right? Open communication, and they were very transparent as to what was happening. And additionally, our virtual internship class of 2020 happened, and everything was done remotely. So that was a huge success, okay? And also provisions to keep both customers and businesses connected. Example would be redeployment, again, with our business-to-business folks. And the second part of this is volunteerism from our employees, right? So we provided support to our communities by giving back, right? Examples would be sewing masks, tutoring for colleges and students, right? Or high school. And senior citizens, we wrote letters to senior citizens, as well as remote mentor opportunities through our employee resource groups. And one example would be that I'm personally involved, Built by Girls, right? Young girls who are looking to work towards their career, right? We do personal mentorship. And the last one I want to talk about is social responsibility. So Verizon has support to essential workers, healthcare facilities, underdeserved schools, and small businesses and racial justice. And that being said, over 55 million in contribution and donations to nonprofit from Verizon and the Verizon Foundation in response to COVID. Example would be mental health organization, Black-owned small business, in equal and social justice organization. So Verizon has taken a huge step in being involved in every aspect of our community. So that's how our response was.
Yeah, thank you. No, thank you. That sounds like you're doing great work. We appreciate that. Would any of the others want to comment, Angel or Katie or Art?
Well, for the National Guard, the COVID situation was a big, it was a great, we were able to go ahead and do what we do, is because primarily with the National Guard, what we do is we serve the state. So we were able to go ahead and send out teams, and we actually saved a lot of lives because we have a lot of people in the medical field. So we were able to participate in that and help out the community. On top of that, well, a lot of people lost their jobs. So, but guess what? We still had a job. So people still, joined, and we were able to provide them paid training. So where other people were losing their jobs, our people had a job. The training changed a little bit as far as safety. Obviously, we practice masks, social distancing, and everything else. And then on top of that, our members are very taken care of, because if you're in the military, you get some of the best medical care that you can possibly have. And again, we got paid training, and we were able to go ahead and make a difference in the community. And there's a big satisfaction in that. And anyway, that's how the COVID, that's how we made a difference with the COVID in the National Guard.
No, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Anything else from our other panelists?
Hi, this is Katie. Being a recruiter for a staffing agency, I personally work with several companies and clients trying to accommodate each of their specific staffing needs as best as I can during this pandemic, while following all CDC guidelines, of course, putting safety in safety first for our associates and clients first and foremost, and following the guidelines. But it's forced me personally to think outside of the box during these challenging times, and to be more tech savvy with participating in Zoom meetings like we are right now, and as opposed to going to job fairs in person, participating in webinars. Virtual interviews is now what I do and conduct, as opposed to face-to-face interviews. So it's forced me to sharpen my communication skills, again, my technology skills, and it's been challenging, especially for associates who are not tech savvy, who don't have access to laptops or computers, or challenges with their cell phones or Wi-Fi service, whatever it is. But surprisingly, personally, and just with my colleagues as well, who I speak to daily, we're proud, and I'm proud that we have been able to help the community find work and place them. period. Even now, I'm hoping that by doing this virtual, job fair, we can assist your students in helping them find work or accommodate their, schooling needs. But it's been interesting. It's been challenging, but we've been able to get through it. In some ways, it's brought people closer in my company. I've been able to speak to other colleagues in different branches virtually now that I never would have prior to the pandemic. But we're doing it, and we are getting people back to work. We're putting America back to work. So it's been okay. We're going through it. We're working through it. So, Art, did you want to add anything? Safety's first, though, for sure.
And yeah, no, we totally agree. And just to go back on that, like, for our office, we know that we've definitely changed and had to institute all of the different social distancing protocols, and it's a different world. So we wanted to ask, what that's really been like for people who are in the field, because now students are not only up against what they normally would be in terms of finding jobs and getting hired, but then now they have to deal with how coronavirus has affected them personally and how that's going to, impact their job search. But with that, I would like to just move into the next kind of area that we had talked about bringing up to you guys, and talking about how to, what kind of positions and what kind of trajectories exist in your field, right? So like students want to know how to get hired, but first they want to know, well, what should I be doing? What really sounds desirable to me. So if you all wouldn't mind talking a little bit about, the types of jobs or the types of internships that your company or your agency might offer on a regular basis to students either very close to finishing school or, right outside of school, that would be great. Does anybody want to go first?
I guess I can go first. This is Katie from Manpower.
Sure.
And thank you for this opportunity. For all the students listening, I would like to explain how to obtain work or internship, or numbers to call, the website to log on to. But then Art next to me, Art Grace, who also works for Manpower at IBM, can describe what he's looking for in terms of the job description for the test techs. Right now, we're currently hiring for systems test technicians. Again, Art will go into a description of what that entails. But to apply for these positions, you would definitely just, if you have a pen and paper on you, or if you want to write this into your notes on your phone or your laptop, please feel free to register at www.manpower.com. That's our website. You can fill out a profile, which basically means filling out a job application. You would just sign up, create a password, and fill the application out there. That information I will have access to, and I can call you that way directly. If you'd rather just call me at the office, I'm definitely okay with that too. My phone number is 845-454-1950. That's 1950. You can ask for Katie, or you feel free to call any Manpower branch. But specifically for the systems test tech positions, this would be the branch to call, the Poughkeepsie Manpower branch. If you have a chance to check out our Facebook page, we also have videos up on the page describing the positions as well. And you would just look up Poughkeepsie Manpower. And I personally have a LinkedIn account. You can look up Katie Ciulla, C-I-U-L-L-A, with some of the system test tech positions posted on there as well. Art, would you like to add what the description and requirements are?
Excuse me, sorry. I can give you a brief description. I know we have a gentleman from IBM on the line, but I handle the IBM manpower team in Poughkeepsie, and my technicians that are assigned down to the site are working on the IBM mainframes. They have been right through the COVID experience, and they're still down there every day. What we're looking for right now, we're looking for young people, old people, doesn't really matter age-wise, but we do need people that have computer background, computer science, programming, even though we don't do a lot of programming right now, but it certainly can't hurt you working on these machines. And I'm finding that people with IT backgrounds are doing very well with the testing of the new mainframes. The testing facilities are on the local campus here, well established. It's a big company, as you all know, the IBM company. The technician skills are varied, but we are looking forward to bringing in young, new blood, as always, all companies. But again, we look at every age group. It makes no difference. We're looking for somebody that wants to establish a career path and is very familiar with the systems, wants to get some real hands-on time with these systems. A good work environment, good people, both good companies. Pay rates vary based on this, your skills and your schooling, but we really like to get some, recent grads or people that are still going to school to work with us, okay, to do the troubleshooting and diagnostic testing of these machines. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. And does anybody want to add to that for their company?
I'll elaborate on that a little bit, right? In IBM, it's all about skills, right? There's a ton of different opportunities available on the IBM.com/employment, jobs, careers, all goes to the same spot. If you look right now, there's 4,605 different entries, and that's not even positions open globally, because some of those are buckets for multiple sites and multiple positions open. So it's constantly fluctuating back and forth, right? And the idea is that it's this central hub that breaks it down, like what you'd expect, why you want to join IBM, the process, which is generally applying online, and then the folks who have positions open can search for different criteria, and then you get invited to an online assessment, followed by a coding assessment if you get past the online assessment, and then there's an in-person or a virtual discussion with someone for best placement. So it's this tiered process, kind of walking you through how it works, is all on the site there. One thing I would want to point out is there's this new collar program. So the idea here is you don't really need advanced degrees. You don't need bachelor's and master's degrees to enter the tech space. The idea is that, it's all about growing skills, and these are more formalized programs to come in with associate's degrees or high school degrees and learn the process and take classes while you're working, so that you can kind of get to the point where you're really doing well at your job, and you don't really have to go through the whole 4-year program that's traditional for computer science.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to share for theirs?
I would like to go ahead and talk about what we do and share some of my experiences. I myself, with the National Guard, our main focus is we're just part-time, okay? And most of our members, they're full-time students, or they have full-time careers. One of the reasons, among many reasons, that they join is that, as an example, IT, and I'll use IT as an example. I'm an IT person myself. The Army went ahead and sent me to IT school and paid me a salary while I was in IT school. And it was for 6 months, and it was worth 25 college credits. So I almost had an associate's degree in 6 months. On top of that, they paid for my certifications. Now, even without a degree, I walk into a salary of $150,000 a year. Now, granted, I do have a lot of IT experience that the military paid for, and that I got serving the military. I've been hearing things about the internships. Well, we don't have internships. We have paid internships. We pay for our training. So people that go to our schools, enjoying, they get paid a salary, and we go ahead and pay their education. And then on top of that, if they want to further their education and pursue their master's or their PhD or get a second bachelor's, we can help them with that also. And amongst other things that we have this PACE program. Now, because our members are part of the National Guard, a lot of our members also get top secret clearance. A top secret clearance, along with if they have their education, now opens up the avenues for three-letter agency, FBI, Homeland Security, and so forth and so forth. And obviously now the money potential goes even more. Now you're talking about $200,000 plus. My colleague right here is going to go ahead and talk more in detail about the PACE program, and he's actually the one that set this up. So here is Sergeant Mackay. He'll go ahead and talk about the PACE program.
How's it going, everyone? Sergeant Mackay. So the PACE program that Sergeant Orsini had mentioned is a new program that the Department of the Army has rolled out. The Army and the National Guard and the Reserves have all partnered with thousands of civilian companies. And basically what the program does is, based off the job that you choose and you enlist into, when you're at MEPS doing your contracting, you are given the opportunity to choose up to 5 jobs or companies to have a guaranteed interview with. It's not a job, not a guaranteed job, but once you come back from training, you're able to interview with these 5 companies guaranteed and potentially get a job out of it.
That's great. Thank you. Did everybody get a chance to say if they had something to say? I don't want to leave anybody out.
I wanted to say a few things. Thank you. So I know this may be, I know most of you may be looking for some internship program. Verizon has a lot of openings at the moment, and it's all on our website if that's an interest to you. Definitely this is something they do remote, you know, and it's a paid internship program in analyst position, engineer position, reporting position. So there's a number of positions posted on our website. I'm gonna go ahead and post the our career website in the chat box.
Great.
Nazareth, you were muted accidentally.
Was I on mute? Sorry, I was on mute. All right, so I did put our website on the chat box for everybody to see. It's a link. We do have a lot of internship program at the moment. They are currently hiring for it. It's a paid internship program. It's an analyst position, reporting, finance, supply chain. I mean, there's a number of positions that they are hiring for. So I encourage you all to look at that and set up an alert on the website to your likings or to your preference that you're looking for. So you can get alerts, something that's an interest to you, you'll get an email notification when you set up those alerts. That being said, I recruit for our retail locations. Right now, we do have part-time positions up and coming. So if you wanted to make a little bit extra money on the side while you're going to school, absolutely, you can do that as well. Our part-time hours are about 24 hours, so that may work for you while you're going to school full-time. If that's an interest to you, definitely reach out to me. I can put my email address on the chat box as well.
Great, thank you. We definitely have heard a lot from you folks about some of the opportunities you have to offer and you know, some of the ways that you can get in touch with you, best ways to get in contact and to find opportunities for your companies. I was just curious at asking, just from a imagined student perspective about, you know, what motivates you to keep going in your area where you work, and what kind of like advice would you give to a student that's looking to, you know, get out there in the real world, and any you know, just gems of like wisdom to offer them in general?
I'll jump in first. It's always good to do something you're passionate about, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't kind of take risks or try out new things. So I had no idea what a mainframe was or that testing was even a career in the computer field until I was at a career fair and they were just like, hey, you know, tell me about a project you did. And I was explaining how I'd have to try out all these weird things in doing like a basic calculator to make sure no matter what the professor did, I would make sure I'd get a decent grade. You know, if instead of a number, they typed in a string and things like that. And they were like, hey, you might be a good tester. So I wound up just, you know, starting an internship there. And now it's been 10 years in the testing space, right? Through test architect and a manager of test services, and now the ZOS test innovation architect. So, which is actually a position that we created for me because we kind of saw a need in that space to say, how are we driving tests forward? So it's definitely, I would recommend doing something you're passionate about, but not really be afraid to try new things. Especially, you know, when you really care about something, you can carve out those new spaces and show the business value of them. So I highly recommend doing things like that.
Yeah, great advice. Sound. Anybody else would care to, you know, add to that?
I could chime in. Yeah, and I'm going to go based on my experiences and why I love what I do, and I can't imagine doing anything else. I love the fact that I'm doing something that less than 1% of our population does. Less than 1% of our population serves the military in some form or another, whether it's National Guard, Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, whatever. It's really amazing that to be part of something that's a lot more than yourself. I also like the fact that through the military, I've been able to go ahead and been all over the world, been able to see and do things that normally I wouldn't have been able to do. Top of that, the endless amount of opportunities that were afforded to me. As far as the IT field, it's unlimited. I could do anything I want. I could go into the security side if I want to. I can go into the software side. I can go into the hardware side, top secret clearance and everything else. And now that I'm a recruiter, I like the fact that I could go ahead and make a difference on so many people's lives. Can't count how many times where I've met somebody that works at a gas station. And there's nothing wrong with working at a gas station. It's kids that work at a gas station. They have the high school diploma, some college, and you know they go ahead and join. And as an example, some of them be IT, some of them are become airplane mechanics. But now their earning potential more than triples. You see, so there's nothing wrong with what they were doing before. But I like to think that I love the fact that I could go ahead and make a difference and make other people's lives better. And see the transformation in these kids is really amazing. And not to mention their parents are very proud of them and everything else. So that's the satisfaction that I get of what I do. And that's why I can't see myself doing anything else. That's one of the reasons why people like to serve. Because a lot of people, most of our members, again, this is part-time. A lot of our members are CEOs of companies, but you know, they want to serve. And this enhance whatever they're doing in their life, this just goes ahead and puts it on steroids. And anyway, that's what I wanted to go ahead and share. And I wanted to go ahead and share if anybody was interested in the Poughkeepsie area, and we have several reasons why, because we've been to Dutchess Community College and done events before. Some of them want to go from community college to a state college, and they didn't think they could do it before because they couldn't afford it. So they join and we pay for their college. And some of them, well, they graduate now and want to have a job. So this obviously does help them with getting a job. But anyway, we have 3 contact numbers that I wanted to go ahead and share real quick. One is 845-500-0426. Another phone number is 845-570-0068. And another phone number is 845-214-3342. Any one of those 3 numbers, somebody will go ahead and contact within 5 to 10 minutes. We'd like to be able to go ahead and help out as many people as we can. Getting an initial information session doesn't cost anything. We always start off with just an information session with no obligation. We don't pressure anybody, hey, you need to join. No. Usually we like to go ahead and talk to anybody who's interested for 10 to 20 minutes and give them the information. If they want to proceed further, then that's up to them. Anyway, that's all I had to offer. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's helpful. And if there's students that want more information, you folks have given a lot of information already. But if any student wants to get in contact, and we can always provide them your contact. Through us, we can send them an email or something. If you wanted to post something in the chat box for students to keep for later, that's fine too. Did anybody want to add anything that we haven't necessarily covered for their company?
I'd be happy to talk about Central Hudson a little bit and our internship program and hiring process and my own experience. When I started out, I knew I wanted to do engineering, but I didn't know what type of field I wanted to get into, and that's what led me to attend Dutchess Community College. Once I started there, I really enjoyed the different engineering classes, but then I didn't know, did I want to be mechanical, civil, electrical? Through taking the courses, I found that I enjoyed electrical, but then within that, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So before transferring to another institution, I applied to a ton of internships. One of them was Central Hudson. And that was my first exposure to the electric power system when I had my first internship there. And that really turned me on to high voltage and the electric power system. And that internship is something that we repeat every year. Like Michael said earlier, it was interesting onboarding and training interns over the summer completely virtually, but we were able to do that. And right now our internship program for the 2021 summer is posted to our website. And we look for students with all kinds of different backgrounds, accounting, marketing, computer science, IT, finance, engineering, all the different fields of engineering. So we encourage people to check out the website and apply. And I'll send those links into the chat box as well, like Nazareth did earlier. And yeah, I think the electric power sector is a very interesting place to work right now because it's a 100-year-old invention that's kind of remained stagnant and people might take for granted, but with the influx of renewable generation and energy storage and now power flowing from customers that have their own, solar connections and causing two-way power flow, it's really changing the whole profile of our system. And it's an interesting time to be in the industry. So I definitely encourage people to check it out. And we have full-time job employment opportunities for high school degrees, associate's degrees, master's, bachelor's. So depending on what your background is and what type of work you want to get into, whether it might be something that's more design work and office oriented versus hands-on and in the field, what our technicians and electricians and mechanics get into. There's a wide variety of opportunities that kind of cater to, the different types of people out there that we're looking for. So it's my quick pitch on Central Hudson, and I'll post those links to the chat.
Thank you. Yeah, and we thank you because we can partly have these meetings because of the work that you guys do. And I know when the power goes out, my first thought is what's going on, electricity company now. No, they're awesome. I mean, when storms come through and they can be repaired, it's amazing like how fast things happen. So I mean, especially now with how much virtual work we're doing, it's so important. So this would be a good time for the students. If you have any questions, you can post them in the chat box, and we'll ask the employers. I just wanted to check because we have two participants who are called in if they had anything else they wanted to share too, just to make sure that we cover all our bases.
Thank you for asking. You know, this is Manpower. We are a staffing agency, and to be in the IT field, I think it's just such a wonderful, wonderful field to be in, especially it's presenting itself so heavily now with the pandemic. As I said earlier, everything, if it wasn't for the virtual communication we have right now, we'd be at such a loss, such a loss. So you really are ahead of the game. And no matter where you go with your career in life, what a wonderful foundation to have, to even if you switch gears and don't necessarily land a career in IT, you will be an asset to your company. You will be able to navigate through webinars or virtual job fairs or virtual interviews, whatever it is, where perhaps, you know, colleagues of yours may not. So again, that makes you an asset, and it's just a great foundation and you know, very valuable knowledge to possess. So congratulations on even dabbling into the career and going to obtain your degree. Knowledge is power. It's never, you know, it's never not an advantage. As far as working for Manpower, we have other opportunities outside of the IT field. So don't be afraid to think outside of the box, and you know, you may land a position as an assembly worker, but from there, network and grow into another position and grow within a company, including at IBM. I've seen assembly workers start off entry level at $14 an hour and work their way into the IT field just from the exposure they have around them working at IBM, and from watching the test techs do their work and asking questions, and then gaining knowledge that way and experience that way, and growing with the company in that way. So again, thinking outside of the box, but with that degree, you are ahead of the game. So congratulate yourselves for that. And again, if you are interested in employment, you can call me directly at 454-1950. And as for Katie, I can't post it because I am, as the host said, we're speaking through a phone. We're not hooked up to a laptop on this webinar. But, or you could just go to our website, manpower.com. And I'd be glad to help you, answer questions you have, or assist you with finding employment. I love what I do, and I would love to help you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Katie. Did anybody, any of the students have any questions that they wanted to ask? I think we're a small enough group where you can just speak. You don't have to type it, but if you don't have any questions, that's fine too. Ben, did you have anything that you wanted to add before we wrap up?
Not anything in particular, I guess, but I guess you might have already touched on it, but for anyone that's, you know, new to the workforce, new to this area of expertise, especially with COVID going on, what do you recommend that they do prior to applying for the job? Like, what system should they know, or anything like that?
So one of the things that I usually recommend is to check out the different job postings, regardless of the company. Like if you're interested in, say, blockchain or working with artificial intelligence, kind of searching around and seeing what the different job postings look for, and then trying to find those skills, like regardless of, you know, employer, right? Just trying to keep up to date with skills is quite time consuming, right? So trying to listen to a lot of podcasts, follow like different feeds is definitely helpful in that regard. And even myself, I like to keep up to date with, you know, the different technologies that are moving forward, and I like to look at the different job postings, what they require and look for. And one piece of advice I would say is, you know, you don't have to kind of fit that job posting to a T. You know, even if you have 5 out of 8 items there, right, you know, apply, right? You know, you can always learn new skills if you have a good base. And that's one thing I think, you know, all the employers here would agree to. You know, definitely, like, you know, take some risks in that regard. I would also recommend that you kind of go out and do, if you're interested in programming Python, right, go and do different badges or certifications, even if they're free online. It helps hone your skills and keep you kind of current with things. And then you can kind of build from there. One of the things that we use at IBM is HackerRank as part of our interview process. So, there's a lot of different tutorials and practice exams and things like that on there that you can kind of go through and hone those skills before you even actually apply.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool. That was thank you, Ben. I forgot about that question. That was a good one. Anything else you think we should throw out? That was it, right?
Do any students have any questions?
I had a quick question. I don't know how to phrase it in a way that's sort of more short, but a while ago in my senior year in high school, I was considering a lot of options about different things, and I was considering joining the military, but for a few reasons I ended up not doing that, and one of them was that I just don't really agree with some of the things that the government is currently have going on. So how would a career in the National Guard be different than that is kind of what I'm trying to ask.
I'm glad that you asked that question. What separates the National Guard from, let's say, the big army is we primarily work for the state of New York. In other words, we do more community. We respond to natural disasters, i.e. COVID. As I mentioned earlier, we saved a lot of lives. We made a difference. So I guess I don't know if this answers your question. What makes us different is, again, we deal primarily with the community. Most of our members, again, they join our organization because they don't want to leave New York. If you do the National Guard, you're serving New York. You will not leave New York. Now, of course, people are asking, oh, well, can I get, deployed overseas and stuff like that? Well, the answer is yes, that is a possibility. However, what happens is the way a deployment works, first of all, they go to the big army first, the U.S. Army. Then they go to the Federal Army Reserve. Then after that, they start going into the individual states. Not every state does not deploy at the same time. So maybe this year it'll be New York. Next year it'll be Georgia. The year after that, it might be California or Texas. And also keep in mind that people see the movie and they think, oh, infantry, oh, I'm going to go. No, it doesn't work that way. I myself got deployed, but I went deployed as an IT guy. And I guarantee you, as an IT guy, I work with the generals and the colonels. I guarantee you that I was a lot more safer in Afghanistan with the generals and colonels, making sure that they got their internet, than being a New York City police officer. I don't know if that answers your question. If that's, that's separates us from everybody else. And on top of that now, as far as educational benefits, that's a big separation also. We have state funds and federal funds, okay? And we also have unique scholarships that only apply to people that are to the National Guard. An example would be the Minuteman Scholarship. A lot of our members use that to go ahead and pursue their master's or better yet, a PhD. On top of that, I kind of feel that you get full-time benefits for just part-time work, because again, you can only do the 38 days a year if that's all you want, or you can go ahead and do some full-time if that's what you want to do. I like to think that with the Guard, it's like you use the military for your benefits instead of the military using you. You have a lot more control because again, you signed up to serve New York, your community. Does that make any, does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thanks for the question. It was a good one. Anybody else have anything before we wrap up, Ben? Any of the students?
I have a quick question. Can you just repeat the site that you said that IBM Michael said before? The HackerRank?
HackerRank?
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I see Paul had a question. Does IBM happen to have any entry-level software development careers or internships? I'm currently enrolled in CIS. So yes, it's an ever-changing ebbs and flow, right? As people leave, change positions, move around in the company. I went into the management track and then went back technical. Things kind of are very fluid. So there's always things opening up and changing. And I highly recommend you go to the site and kind of register for the different things you're interested in and continually search. As was said earlier, I believe there are some entry-level positions for like the SVT techs and stuff to work on the hardware side of things. And like Michael said earlier, in a large corporation like this, it's very easy to kind of find your path and kind of shift around. Like I worked on patents that have to do with lasers. And I literally went to the company directory and found an expert in lasers and started talking to them like, hey, we have this idea. Is it even reasonable? And they were like, yeah, we can actually start making a prototype. So there's a lot of different things you can kind of do in a large organization and kind of figure out your different path, right?
Wow. Yeah, no, thank you, Paul, for your question. Anybody else? Does anybody else have a question they wanted to pose?
I have a question. Does the National Guard has an age limit? I'm 45 years old, so I would like to know.
Well, the age limit, normal age limit is 35. However, we have taken up to waivers all the way up to the age of 40 and 42, because what happens is you got to technically be able to do 20 years and be able to still retire before you're 60. Not everybody has to retire, but that's the rule that they set in place, is that you at least got to have that opportunity. So we have seen that people in their 40s and stuff, they have kids or they have relatives. They're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that I'm 35 and I can still do this. Or 36 for that matter, because we do offer waivers. But does that answer your question, ma'am?
Any other questions? Thanks, Angel.
Thank you.
All right. Well, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Well, if that's it, we have reached the end of the event. Obviously, we can give you any contacts that you would want. Just message us after the event, and we can put you in contact with whoever you want.
Yeah.
And thank you, employers, for coming, and thank you, students, for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. Hopefully, we can do this again real soon.
Yes, thank you, everybody, for coming. Register for classes. Katie, did you have something to say?
I just wanted to thank you as well for the opportunity, and good luck to the students.
Yes, good luck, exactly. Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Take care.
Thank you.